the end of our session.
Waliasipu. Ang kasawayarwa Nina Telviduksi. Telviduksi, Nika Telviduksi, Ernest. Without the T. Ernest, Telvana Telvigati, Ernest. Telvira Nina Ernest when I did Frank Kevin. Bishop Yasipu, no, here, may go, Pisi Pinuarlin of John Habon Mosta. Dolaway, up there on television, Newell Margaret. Newell was out of and David Witchella and Ian P. Margaret from a near Vigidor Darwinit. Newell Margaret. Nina Witchell, never. Tell David, sometimes tell I can just also. Mais c'est bien mieux que nous, c'est à moi là. Ok, c'est pour dire, parce que ich glaube, dass wir dort dann davor am kasawaya divani muloga kasi itu akan itu am serwani sedemodi takwa sporum ni ga atlavis ni ga Kevona has been down let's do it down Telway.
No copycatting?
Down let's do it. Didn't work. Okay, I'll use both languages. I want to use the third language, which is silence. First, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the language itself and how I see it. Some people say that we are losing the language and there are many adjectives that tell us what's happening to our language. But I think that one of the things that I saw this morning is that something I don't see. When you start erasing something, it no longer becomes visible. At that point, Mugistlo Nemido. Bemi Kasabasi. So our language is being erased somewhat from our own usage, from our own understanding of it. So I will talk about a little bit about our what happens. Yes, the last time I spoke about a farmer. Yeah, this farmer had cattle, and every spring the calves are born. So the Nima couple decided that they were going to buy a calf this spring, so they asked the farmer to let them know when the calves will be ready. And when he did, they went up to see the farmer to pick the calf. On arrival, the farmer saw them and mentioned to his wife about the Mi'kmaq culture, way of Mi'kmaq. Mi'kmaq are always, when they are in agreement or when they welcome you, a tea is offered. So it says, okay, these are Mi'kmaq people, and if they decide to, or we come to an agreement, we will come back and have tea. So, okay. And he said, they love strong tea. All right. So the woman decided, said, I will take that one. Okay. They decided on the calf. But they walked over, so they said, okay, the farmer said, let's go in the house and see how we're going to take that cow home. So they went inside, sat down at the table, and the woman, farmer's wife, poured tea. And because it was their culture to have tea. So the man took the tea and took a sip, turned to his wife and said, "Which tea?" And the woman took a sip, "Which tea?" And the farmer's wife turns around and tells her husband, she said, "Gee, you weren't kidding when you said the Newell of strong tea. I put 6 tea bags in. That boat is really Actually, they said it's great, it's good tea, delicious, weak tea, but that was their translation. And a lot of times this happens. I'll tell you another little one before we start. It's about this, I think it's on there somewhere, but about a guy that was traveling along and drove through a Mi'kmaq community, and his muffler fell off. So he says, he stops over, and there's 2 guys there that were operating a little backyard garage, and he asked him if he could fix his muffler. They looked at it and said, okay, we'll try. So they tied it up in enough so that he will get to a regular muffler shop and get it fixed. So one of the guys who fixed it asked his friend, he says, so the man didn't understand, so he says, what's he saying? And he tried to think, he says, how do I tell him? Oh, he says, it'll raspberry. So a lot of times we interpret the best way we can, we try. And a lot of times our people did that, and you know what happened? That when the writers, people who wrote the books and said, this is how it said, so when you look up some word, try to find its meaning. And I'm sure that there's something behind it, because most of them are partial of it, not all, because I've read Pacific Rand and all that, and sometimes I just leave with a sore stomach because I laugh too much. Our people had a lot of humor, and they would say things, and Rand thought that they were actually telling them the truth. But that's the way they interpret it, like that raspberry and weak tea. Okay, where do we begin? I think this will raspberry. First of all, I'd like to say how honored I am to be able to be here and share a little bit of something that I learned, not by myself, but by my family. As my children were growing up, I've helped them learn this way. And a few years ago, I was asked to do a presentation, and I asked Noel to help me do something. And he just said, do it the way you did with us, show it the same way. And it's true storytelling. I tell them stories about things, about little things, and how There was even a song about the rabbit, and one of the words we use is what the Salmaila Deludibni. Salmaila Deladibni, Deludibni. So this is what the old people said. So every word in Mi'kmaq comes from them, and one of the things that I believe in, and the way I understand, is because I see. Nemidu. And the Mi'kmaq language, in my opinion, as Albert would say, in my most humble opinion, I believe that the Mi'kmaq language is one of the most beautiful languages in the world. You can speak any language, but say a few words in Mi'kmaq, and a Mi'kmaq person would say, Nemidu, I see. But you can speak all day in any other language and still have a difficulty in trying to see what that person is saying. But in the Mi'kmaq language, you only have to say a few words. There are many words that describe, but the description and the distinctiveness of the Mi'kmaq language only applies to one. To tell you another little story about this, I'm full of stories today. A long time ago, there was this farmer living just outside of the Eskisoni community. I don't like the word reserve. And he used to travel to town once in a while, and he would drive by on a tractor. And you know that a tractor didn't come with this soft seat. You had to put your coat or something to. But this guy would travel all the way to Sydney or East Bay on a tractor. And you could imagine, how difficult that is. So he would sit like sideways for a while, and then he would sit this way for a while. And he got to be known as Hugmukjabidio. So when you talk about him, you know who it is. Descriptive and distinctive, So all the animals and birds and plants and trees and even people, their names arrive from their character, shape, many things. Like Ernest is just a name. But I think that when I grew up, I had about 50 different names. I wanted to make Pustemidil, Nakatkelsidil, Mingosidil, Lederidil. And in fact, that one of my Indian day school problems was because I did not pass the grade because I'm some Lederidil, Puxi Lederidil, Puxi Visalsidil. So we developed names, So the animals got their names in the same way. People got their stars, everything. So today we're going to look at just a few. And we see how, one of my friends says, innovative we are. We learn by looking and then be able to say, I see. And I hope I hear that a few times today, and that's how I will know that I'm doing something that you see. Okay.
Yeah.
Story. There was a young boy that was placed in a residential school, and that's a story about all of us. And when he arrived at the residential school, he was very young. And also in a young age, he left the residential school to go to live with his mom. But his mother had moved into a township where it was unlike our community. So he asked his mother, could he go spend the summer with grandma, granddad? He did. And his mother was just kind of said, why, you don't want to stay with me? I do, but I want to see things. I want to learn things. So the mother's parents were living in the out in the country where there was a lot of birds, fish, animals. But this boy had never encountered any of them. So when he got there, he asked if he could go out and watch. So he went out that next morning at his grandmother's place and watched this little animal running around. He didn't know what it was. He went home and his grandmother said, did you see anything? Yeah, I saw this little creature. This little creature is, he bounces, like hops a short distance and small. And his grandmother said, oh, I believe him much. I believe him much. Yeah, I believe him much. So the first part of the word I believe him much is abuif. You've heard that before, huh? Abuif, abuif ketu, abuif keti. Oh, I see. When you go visiting, I'm going to ask her. When you go visiting and you're going to stay there for a long time, you say Elie, right? But if you were going to go there for a few minutes, Elie. Okay. So, since the rabbit is not going, you only go short distance. It says, Abu Fredeli. So you put that, I believe much.
Which means this is what it does.
Abu Fredeli. So all those words put together, then you're talking about this little one particular creature. But if you look at all, where else would you find that definition or in another animal? They're they don't, only one that bounces, they hops.
Grasshopper.
Chawal Wajit. It has nothing to do with that because that thing he gives, the grasshopper gives you. He doesn't read it. Okay, I believe how much. How are you with that? I believe how much. Because you can't use it in another, to describe another animal, so it's kind of distinct and descriptive of a rabbit. There's one.
No. Wabos.
Well, Wabi. I'd ask Wabos. See, there is a distinctive. The Mi'kmaq people had to be very careful. So, a rabbit, I learned this at a young age. I went up the hill to the Prospers who were living up the hill when I was living in Chapa Bodlode. And their mother, Clara, told me not to go in there. Of course he told me not to go in there. I had to go in there. When I crawled in there were some rabbits in there, brown rabbits. They were wild rabbits, but they were brown. And when I crawled out of there, I was full of wagyu, I don't know what you call them. And in the summer, the rabbit has these mites, or so we don't handle it obligatory. Wabbas turns white, and it frees itself from these mites. You can handle it, wabbas. So wabbas is just a rabbit that you can take and handle and eat food. But you can eat rabbit anytime, but wabbas is just a distinctive, same one, but wabbas is the one that you see adjutant. Wabi, that's all. Okay, we keep the word descriptive and distinctive. Now, this particular animal has a distinctive features that we recognize. And when we describe it, we use those distinctive features. And do you see them? All right. Caroline says, eyes. Do you agree? What's wrong with his eyes? Huh? What do you do when you get up in the morning and fix? Put the costume. You decorate your eyes, right? So, Amal means for fun, toy, or Amali. So you're doing it. Here we say decorate or something. Okay, that's this distinctive feature about a raccoon, Amal. Okay, eyes. Eyes. This is a hard one. Eyes. We say boogie. Huh? But what happens when you hit your eye? Okay, you got it. Yeah. Now we say Amal. All right. Decorated eyes. No, all animals do that. The caribou is famous for that. Huh? Okay, we go Hamal Chigwaji is that the one with the decorated eye, very distinctive, descriptive, and when you see it, you recognize it. So the boy keeps bringing these stories home, describing these animals, and we'll see a little bit of what happens when he keeps doing that. Okay, now there's this little creature that runs around the piles, and like he was walking upon the rocks, and he saw this little creature running around. So he watches him, and then goes back home, and he tells his grandmother, I saw a little thing about this long running around. And he had a decorated back, big thing strips on his back. And his mother says, oh, Amal huh? Yeah. So this one here is called the one with the decorated back, Hamal Parmet. So, see, a very Very simple. I think that the biggest problem we have right now, and I was talking to a friend this morning about it, about the new words that we're having very difficult time, and our people didn't have any difficulty with new things. When the colonists first came here, the Mi'kmaq had these moose all over the place. And when the colonists came, they brought a cow. So it was the French people that brought the cow. And instantly they said, that's Wanjudia, French moose. So they had no difficulty saying, what is it? They just called it. And they turnip, Wanjusa baby. Yeah. But they had no difficulty. So I don't think we should have that difficulty here once we begin to learn, understand that we can make something descriptive and distinctive. And as we look at these words, some of these animals today, we can use that and say, oh, gee, it's not that difficult. We can learn. But it gets a little...
Well, I think I'm interested. Revelations.
Talade goed. Nog hij dat kan mee. Talade goed. Dan doe je bagado, talado. Chill dassig. Okay. Well, chilki game and I'm going, yeah? Chilk dassig. None of you?
Change your book.
Well, chilk. Nemo what's wrong? How do you come on it? Come on. Come here. Let's come now, huh? Eliona, dear. It's called you, sir. Visiguna. Well, imported here, and there's limits for it. And I've seen a measurable goopy. And for it, I've not been a ride of it. Then my little boy said, little boy, well, we want to my lady, that's spring beaver every day to go. Daddy, that's spring beaver every day. What you were doing, tell you it. My silk goopy. What's the water? Hey, come on, ja. Chill to me, so get we up. And I swallow that. Chill to me, so get we up. Get any limit, Talado, and one chill to go, is a get we up. Go team, go pit.
Go pit. Is in possession of, so go pit.
Go pit. He bites it. I chill. Tell me, chips it in a bite. Mubado, chill. Chill, me so give you. Go pit. I don't go and be so good. We are I don't. Never tempted. I don't go pit. Never we are go pit. Now, what you see, after you never tell you, go pit again. Go pit, go. Mobile way up the lard again. Okay. It's in the morning when they finish breakfast, the little fella decides that he's going to go out again and look for some more things to find around the, what we call it, a farm. So he goes out and he meets this beautiful little creature. So before I go there, this creature only does what he's supposed to do to protect himself when he's threatened. A few years ago, we were traveling through Guysborough, and this creature crossed the road. I stopped, got out, walked over, and he went across, then he came back, went back the other way, and didn't do anything. I mean, he wasn't threatened by me. So they don't spray unless they're threatened. Anyway, this little boy went out and looked at him, and of course, this little creature started to run away. And he went after him, and as he was going after him, he was going to pick him up. That's when this little creature stopped. When he stopped, he started to back up. When he backed up, the boy thought that he had his approval, as he's cuddling up to him or more or less. So he picked him up, and what happened?
Oh, God.
He comes home and knocks on the door, not usual. The grandmother looks out and opens the door. I said, now he knows why he's not coming in. So she goes out, and he describes the animal. He tells him what he did and what the animal did. And he says, "Abajibik chilusk, abajibik chiluksin." So probably that fits that animal, because for him to, what is called Monsieur Pew. So, before he pews, he has to, that's the only thing, because one time ago, Sarah Denny, you remember Sarah?
Yeah.
That's Kisoni. Very knowledgeable about medicine, exceptionally knowledgeable about different medicines and that he learned from childhood. So one day he comes to the house and says, he needed one of these creatures. And I asked my grandfather then if he had ever trapped them, and he said yes, but you have to do it in a special way. You have to use abortism chip, abortion. You have to catch them and lift them off their feet so they won't spray you. That didn't happen. I know I had him about a half a mile away, but I had to go get him. And I went there and I found him on a trap. He was dead. So I had a body gripping trap that was humane. Brought him home, and I skinned him. And about after 10 gallons of tomato juice and stuff like that, I was able to pass them on to Sarah. Sarah wanted the oil, that's all. So I gave him the oil and I gave Newell the pelt. But that's the story about the skunk. Abajibik Chiluet is what he does. Abajibik Chiluet. Is that okay? Okay.
Did you actually just name the Ula?
Alright. Alright.
Nigga on there.
A little story again. As they were sitting around in the evening, grandfather asked the boy, would you like to go down to Sandbar this evening and make a bonfire? And we will take some marshmallows, stuff like that. Of course, the boy agreed. Yeah, I like that. So they went and they built the fire. And they stayed there for a little while. They had some marshmallows and wieners, and the boy was wandering around looking. And then they went home. Next morning, grandmother asked the boy, did you have fun? Good time? Yeah, really good. Did you see anything? Oh yeah, he says, I saw something. So the grandfather says, would you like to go again tonight? Okay, we'll go. I like that. So they went that night, but then they didn't take any wieners or marshmallows. They just made bonfire, and grandmother went with them. They built a big bonfire. And as they were, the boy says, those little things, they came last night again. When we built the fire, they came. What are they? Tell it now, ma. When you know, be jolt kiju. The baruji, the long kid, which you down. Be jolt kiju. But I went about when you're piecing kiwa, be jam. Got a piecing this kid which one of our club is not read as a special. So this little the codfish known as beju.
Okay.
So beju, no matter where you're at, it doesn't matter what country you are, what sandbar you are. If you build a fire, or even in or light of any kind, the codfish will come, and that's the fish that will come. Now, it only works in Newfoundland now, as the codfish are they're coming back. But that's how the codfish beju is the one that comes, not come back, but comes. Get it away, it's on the beju and beju sadag. Nin. Okay, right. Oh, sorry. We want to look at two different exercises for you. One of them is just this little program that I looked at, and I'm not really a real. If it comes to fur handling, would have been different. But this is something that just I try to do because this is the way I showed and facilitated the learning for my children. Hands-on experience, and they have to figure it out. I don't actually ever told them things. They had to figure it out, and then they realize. And when they do that, just like Newell Margaret's name, it's just not Newell Margaret. My mother's name is Margaret, and my wife's name is father's name is Newell. So when she hears his name, she can tell you where she comes from, because that's part of the reason that the name was given. So everything that my children do, I always make sure that, or anybody that comes to me, I make sure that when they see something, when they see with their eyes closed, they'll never forget it. They'll always remember it, and they'll always be able to understand it. Not just know, like a dog. And I think that's where, and the exercise that we're doing, Newell will explain, but it's a very healthy, and I was amazed to see it. And I actually call it, you know, you've heard about Gojua. There's Gojua Eltes, come on, means you dance it. But Gojua is probably, in my way of, I think that's a corrupted word. If now Newell is going to ask you, Goiche. And we use a program called Nearpod. Yep. And it's Gojua, Goiche. Goiche. It's a sign language sometimes, but we're going to use this program so that maybe you can try that in your schools, at homes. So, that's very much.
Dominic, no. Oh, that's just a code. Alright, are you guys light? You're not kiddo. Yeah, light.
Light?
What's on? On the light.
On the light.
On the light. Alright, if you have your phones, log in now to nearpod.com. You don't have to upload it, it's just a useful tool. And we're going to use some of my dad's teaching strategies, I guess, to...
One of the things that I really have been using is that
N-E-A-R. Near. Get you near.
we can only teach if we know how you learn. And in order for us to do that, you must teach us to teach you. And that's what today you can talk to kids for hours. And at the end of an hour or two, you ask them, what did I say? They'll probably say, when. They wouldn't have a clue what you were talking about. I hope this didn't happen today. But when you look at, I went to a place where I was offering a course to the youth. And I asked them to bring out their iPods. And nobody had them because they were asked to leave them home. And I said, okay, when you bring them back, then we can start the program. No matter where you go, the youths have them in their back pockets. And this is a tool that's very useful. We could use that. This is how they learn. If you talk to them for an hour, they'll never hear. But if you have them on the iPod, in their iPhones, whatever, at the end of an hour, they'll be still sitting there and they'll explain everything you've told them. This is how they learn.
So nearpod.com, nearpod.com. It's going to ask you, once you put it on your phone, it's going to ask you for your name. And then you're going to join my classroom with this code. It's all uppercase. It's not a zero, it's an O. SEOAD. So right now I have 18 students in my classroom. Ashley. Ooh, Johnny, you're in. Yeah. Clifton, you were out and in again? I can see you're leaving classroom. 23 days, you're again. So, we're going to ask you a question.
Just enter that code.
Huh?
Taekwondo demo, and will me and my dad. Just so you know that I have the teacher one. You're all my students in my Nearpod classroom. This is free. You can upload it. You don't have to pay any money for it. So everybody's going to have a chance to input your answer. You're going to see my question now. You see the
Okay.
question.
What does a dog do?
What are some characteristics of a dog? Answer mo bisparmo and submit. Me and my dad will look at them here.
A dog.
Dog.
You take one. Okay, remember we're looking at distinctive and descriptive of a dog. What's distinct about a dog?
You need only giziblo and more than one.
Wagging his tail is wrong. You know what is distinctive and descriptive about a dog? This might help. Every family, Mi'kmaq family, had one, two, or several dogs.
It's not going to save on your phone. Once you exit, it'll be gone.
Okay, if you took a dog, if you brought your dog here this morning
Okay.
and lived in Vomitcook, Eskistoni, or somewhere, and you forgot your dog.
How would you describe it?
Okay, what is the character or distinctive character of a dog?
You go home.
Write it down.
My
All right, we've got quite a few answers here. We've got 48 participants. And just so you know, I can share some of your answers. I can leave the names on or I can leave the names off. It's up to me as your teacher. So I'm going to take the names off because I don't want to the game. And I have a maximum capacity of 50, so if you can't get in, 50 is my limit. 50 days. So if you can't get in, just follow along with someone next to you. All right. Here's one. I'm going to share it. So you're going to see an answer that was shared by one of our students in the class. They bark, they wag their tails, they follow you, they understand you somewhat, they know the way. Okay, let's see another one. Would it be more funny if I leave the names on?
No.
Okay. I'll leave the names on. This one is from Marie. I'm going to share that one. What does she say? Bark, tail, I think it's suguni. Loyalty always comes home. Page, I'm going to share pages. Page, Deloitte, bark, wag its tail, growl, furry, hairy, sniffs. It's got color.
Okay.
Good answer.
If we took this one, let's just
That's not page way.
let's see now. I'm just going to take up your first point.
Bark.
Do all dogs bark? Huh?
Yeah.
Do all dogs bark? Is that how we know them? We look at the iceberg. What does the iceberg do? Growl, bark? Okay. Wag their tail. Do all dogs wag their tail?
Yeah.
Some of them don't even have tails.
But they do have.
Growl?
Is it the only animal that growls?
It's not distinctive.
It's not just.
The cat even growls.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to this one that we saw. Liz, I'm going to share that one. Don't send me a picture yet. No.
I can't even get on.
They bark, they wag their tails, they follow you, they understand you somewhat, they know the way.
What do you think of that? Does that describe a dog? That could describe a cat too, huh?
Yeah.
No. But The Mi'kmaq people kept and used the dog for a very special reason. Good. Okay.
Share Ottoman about some responses.
One of them said, they always go home. A dog always goes home. You leave a dog anywhere, any place, if he can make it home, he'll come home. Now, what should we call a dog in our language to make it distinctive and descriptive? Tell me a deal. That describes me too. I always go off with something. And Caroline said, Elamooch.
So that's why I do it.
Yeah, it's been
Who just means the one, huh?
Yeah.
the one.
So the
If I name Adi. Give me my hand up. Don't throw on your dog.
that one will Elamooch.
Think about the characteristics, distinctive and descriptive. Your dog.
Google the images.
Huh?
We're all going.
There's 50 people in the class.
I believe that this program, you can have this program incomplete. It is only about 25% of it what we show. We didn't show a lot of others like the squirrel and many others, but they're contained in this program. But you can have this program sent to you or pick it up and use it, and also use this other program in combination so that the learning will be strengthened.
And again, this is I don't work for Nearpod, but this is a free app you can download. You can use it in your classroom. There's a lot of activities you can include in here. For example, you can upload and make your quizzes. You can do a lot of different activities.
That is.
Before we go, I will need one volunteer. One person that, just one. Just anybody, one person up here.
Okay, I'm going to share another one. These are some of the things you can do. Yeah. And look at this. That's cute, cutie. But you can share all the activities, or you can share.
Like when we say Elamooch, what he says.
Oh. This is a good, cool app to have in the school in the classroom. Because you can have all the kids participate, not necessarily have to put up their hand and share their answers. And you can also see if anybody's understanding or if they're not getting it, and then maybe you can work one-on-one with them. They might even say, I don't understand, 50 capacities. They might ask you a question, only you and that child will see.
Okay, Jeff volunteered, and
Yeah, it'll save in your bank. A lot of money is Yeah, come on, we share, we just, that's what I did yesterday, we shared a lot.
I'm going to be referring to one animal. But I'm going to have Jeff do the sign language. Okay? Okay, when you're doing the sign language to indicate that you're telling the story.
I just press share, I forgot to press share.
Yeah. When you're telling a story, how does that?
Long time ago.
I'm trying to describe a small animal.
And the women went to bingo.
That is talking but very fast, telling a story. And he sits. Okay, you're sitting down telling a story. How would you say that in Myanmar? Yeah, when you're telling a story, what is it? Audubet. Okay. Audubet is telling the story at this very moment. Audubet. Okay. So you look at this particular animal is constantly moving his hands and making a lot of noise. He's like making a noise, like talking and using his hands. That's what the people do when they're telling a story. We talk about gojua, goiche, when you're using a sign language and you're trying to ask the kids or whatever, what is it? What are we doing? Now, this little animal is using his hands and he's making a noise. Okay, I do it. That's the word that we use. Okay. But what is he doing? What would be the word? Okay, the animal that we're talking about, we refer to him as the one that is telling a story and making a noise and using his hand, and we say, I do it. But there is another part that indicates that he's an animal, right?
Edge. Wedge? Wedge. Edge.
Well, probably the one. How do you say that? How do I deal? How do I deal? Okay, now, see, there is a part that's missing that we can't. How do I deal could be anybody. Yeah? The one that anybody that's it. How do we say this particular animal? Well, we say a squirrel. You look at a squirrel sitting there. When you look at him, you watch him chattering and you know, sitting there as if he's relaying a story. So we look at him as the storyteller, and that's this guy here. He tells stories. You have a theater, right?
Now you have a
Yeah.
name.
And that's all he does, sign, language, images, and this is how the people were able to relay and references to a squirrel is like, he's a squirrel.
And the third activity in Nearpod, I just put feedback. So if you have any feedback with Nearpod itself and the activity, we would gladly take any feedback, positive. We like to look at some of the responses and grow from them.
Remember, I said earlier that help us help you. I think the same thing, that when you go to your classes, the youths will help you help them. Through this method, through these systems, they will help you, they will guide you, and they will tell you, Nemidu. Munamidu, then you work with it. So I think that when we get some feedback, we can help with this program, make it more user-friendly, and make it for you, your own. You can take this program, develop it the way you want to. This one is not, what do you call it, the ownership of this is yours.
If anybody wants a copy, just
We have no
message me,
claim to
email
it.
me. We can send it out to whoever. We don't own it, we just created it.
We just tried our best to put a little program, something that somebody can grab and make something out of it. Not to,
Edit, modify, change, whatever
Whatever.
fits your needs. Now sit up.
if you give Newell or write Newell or anybody here, you will be able to get the program.
You can add it to it.